Hello, welcome back to the CashPT Lunch Hour podcast. This is Aaron LeBauer, your host, and today my special guest is Ryan Magin. Ryan is call him a serial online internet entrepreneur. He's the master of YouTube, GoPro photos, Instagram, even like website arbitrage, I think, is part of his story. So we're going to get into all that in just a second. So Ryan, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me. And I always enjoy talking to, I guess you could say, per se, niches that I wouldn't normally be exposed to otherwise. So you have that was the first thing I said to you. I was like, oh, you got a good targeted niche. I like it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. You know, the riches are in the niches, right?
I mean, it's just knowing who you're talking to. I mean, especially in today's world, and we could talk about this later. Like, if you're trying to reach everybody, you will definitely reach nobody. So it's good to see people that have a very clear and defined not only purpose, but like mission and like who is receiving that information.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. It's just even on that topic, it's one of those things I think a lot of people think, oh, I can help everyone. I should help everyone. And they don't know who they're talking to. And it's just like, it's probably stall out. You probably see that a ton, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody's guilty of that to a degree. I mean, like, I think I'm awesome, so I want to tell everybody I'm awesome. Right. But I mean, 5 years ago, that kind of worked. Like, you could just be awesome. But there's a lot of deciding factors that, especially now, that will limit your awesomeness factor, I guess you could say. Like, do people like how you talk? Do people like how you look? Are you charismatic? Like, there's a lot of people that, it's no offense to them, but like, if you got like one eye, yeah, I get it, but you're not going to reach everybody, because of that. Like, or if you have like a high pitched voice, you're going to piss people off. Like, so it's like, people need to not necessarily like pick themselves apart, but like, okay, do I have this personality and can I take that to like the stratosphere?
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to get into a little bit about why I brought you on the show. I saw you speak at Jason Capital's event last year, and I was there. I was in California working with my coach Bedros, and I came over for the day and saw you speak, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And you were like, "I used to race BMX bikes," and I was like, "I'm probably one of the only people in the room that knows what that's like." I think I told you this when I met you, but you probably didn't remember. But I used to race road bikes, and my best sponsors were Visa and MasterCard.
Oh yeah, that's all. Yeah, I'm an avid. I'm a fixed gear guy right now, but I do content for a couple bike shops in my local area, and I don't want to say they owed me some money, so I have a very nice road bike getting gifted to me here shortly because of some payment issues. So I'm excited to get that. So I will be an avid road cyclist as opposed to an avid fixed gear cyclist.
Nice.
So
that's awesome. And you used to race BMX, I think, right?
Yeah, I turned pro when I was like 24, kind of a little bit later. Like 24, 25. I was working at Lowe's at the time, and that's kind of what jump-started my entire internet, I guess you could say, career now, because I've been at this for like 9 years. But it was I saw a need, like, the internet it was kind of infant back then. Like, video was very infant. YouTube wasn't even a thing yet when I started. But I saw BMXers, like, they were just like, they were getting, like, for lack of a better term, ass raped by trainers for prices and stuff that wasn't specific to that. So I thought, like, I was a big fan of Zach Evanesh and like the underground methods. And I was actually a member on his forum, and that's how I met one of my good friends, Elliot Hulse. I'm sure a lot of people on your podcast know who Elliot Hulse is. But I said, man, these kids need training advice. So I spent a whole weekend staring at a camera. At the time, it was like this little like flip camera.
Right.
We didn't even have like the shit we have today. It was just like phones and stuff. But it was, I talked to my camera. It was like an hour and 15 minutes. I broke down like basically how to train with sandbags, sleds, and when this stuff wasn't that cool. Like, now that shit's cool. Like, when I was talking about it, like, it wasn't cool, especially not in BMX. Like, so it was way different. But I started making videos every day, and I was posting them to Vidler, which is like not even a thing anymore. And I built a following. I built an email list. I started online marketing. I was selling my DVD. Just I'd make a helpful video and link to my DVD underneath. When you bought the DVD, you signed up for my email list, and I mailed, like, literally I was printing them off one by one. Like, I photocopied the cover. It was a color printer. I photocopied it. I put it in a little plastic case. I took the DVD off the spool, went boom. it was like my own prints on demand. And then I waited till like later in the day because I wanted to see how many more orders came in. So a lot of times not many others came in. So it was just like 1 or 2 DVDs, and I would take it to the post office and I'd ship it off. And that was like I did that for like 2.5 years. That like funded me traveling. Not so much funded me. I just was never, and I said it in my speech at the summit, I was never good enough to be a top professional, but I was too good to be amateur. Like, so it was like when I raced an amateur, and that's what kind of forced me to go pro, I was like, oh, like, I'm beating everybody. Like, I'm in the top 3 every single time. And yeah, that's cool. But I wanted to make a little bit of money. I wanted to get that exposure. I wanted to be able to say I was a pro. So finally I did you had to be invited in like one of the final races. You had to get a certain placing in points to let you go. And I made that. And I came back and I told Lowe's I wanted to do it. And they basically looked at me like I was crazy. I was like 24, like, you want to be a pro BMX racer? I was like, yep. And they're like, nope, sorry. You can't do both. We advise you to choose the career. And I was like, cool, I quit. And then that's kind of when the DVD happened, and I was just funding my own way. And, that's, I mean, it does get bad. It got bad because I was not only like selling the DVD, I was riding my bike. I was getting paid to ride my bike. I was doing everything I could to train to ride my bike. And then everything I did revolved around like my bike. And after about 3 years, I was like, I fucking can't stand riding this bike anymore. So that's what got me in, like you said, with the website arbitrage. I went into search engine optimization. The dark corners of the internet is kind of like how I like to put it, because we were doing shit that, like, it definitely probably wouldn't be considered legal today. But nobody knew about it back then, because we would take websites. I'd rank a website, and when you clicked on it, the entire website would change. I had like scripts and like all kinds of, it was made a lot of money really quickly, and then it collapsed very quickly once Google kind of figured out what you were doing. And that's, then that brought me into the world of personal branding, where I was like, well, let me build something around something that I know really well. And that at the time happened to be style and fashion. And I took a YouTube channel from 0 to like 22,000 subscribers in about 1.5 years, which, back then was pretty solid. Even today would still be considered really solid. I was working with brands like Neutrogena, Aqua Velva, Gillette, Dollar Shave Club, Thursday Boots. I worked with so many. I was signed under an agency, and like we were talking about before we started the recording, I cussed a lot. I was very abrasive. A lot of my videos were garnered, not again in the niches, was garnered at teaching men's style and fashion. And I did that for a while. I created multiple, I would consider, best-selling products. That's how I know Jason Capital. We were really good friends before we created a product together, but he basically published me on one of my products, which is called 51 Handsome Guy Secrets, which still sells to this day. It's like the first, it's got the crazy VSL. Like, I could probably re-update it. It would make a lot more money, but now I just don't really have the passion to do it. Right. Once the channel got demonetized, I was forced to kind of, really look at myself. It was attention grabbing, and I knew that. That's why I did it.
Skinny jeans to make you look hot or something. I don't know because you were talking about skinny jeans the other day.
I talk about skinny. Like, my most popular videos on my channel are all about skinny jeans, because I knew skinny jeans are a trigger for dudes. Like, I don't know why. And I would like poke at that, like, and the videos would get hundreds of thousands of views, and I'd be like, cool, sweet. So I would still consider myself the internet's advocate for skinny jeans. So for men. But during that time frame, I had my daughter, me and my now fiance. When everything kind of started, we broke up for a while. We were not together for about 1 year, maybe a little less than that. And during that time, I kind of reinvented myself. That's when I found style and fashion, and I was like, man, like, I was kind of like a piece of shit before. And I don't say that like, not like an asshole, like I was beating people up and stuff, but like my persona just kind of seemed arrogant. This is right off like all the Google like manipulative stuff I was doing, and I was making a lot of money. Like, there'd be days where I'd wake up to $2,000 in my account that wasn't there the night before. And like, looking back now, I wish I'd have saved some of that money. But it was, for what I was doing, I didn't do anything really. I had a team of Filipino employees that were outsourced. did everything for me. And I kind of acted like I was Bill Gates when I was nowhere near that level. So I was forced to reinvent myself and kind of like come to fruition with, hey, you're kind of being a piece of shit right now. Maybe you should fix this. And luckily, me and my girlfriend broke up during that time, and I was able to find myself. And then that's when the YouTube started for fashion and style. That's, and now, when that kind of, like, it didn't really fall apart. Like, YouTube kind of demonetized some of my stuff just because it was very abrasive. So luckily this time Instagram was really popping off, and I was like, well, here's a place I can reinvent myself. So I started making videos every day using my, I literally have it near me at all times. So I use my GoPro for tons of stuff. I started making little edits, like 30 seconds long, 45 seconds long, and posting to my Instagram story every day. People started liking them, and they were just my day-to-day life. They were just what I was doing. Fortunately for me, I had money and not saved, I would say, but it was coming in because of what I had built with the fashion stuff. So I was like, I had like a time frame. I was like, I can reinvent myself for like 6 to 8 months before I really need to go, holy shit, I got to make some fucking money. Yeah. So I just kind of hoped that in that time frame, if I gave good content about marketing, branding, made these little fun videos, that things would start to pop off. And I don't know if they kind of did, but I started getting asked to speak, and I started making more money from just the business side of things. And again, the cycle started all over. I created some products, started doing consulting, videos every day, if not twice a day on my Instagram. And now we're here.
Yeah. Wow, man, that's awesome. And so this has been more than just a few years. So what year were you racing bikes, and when did the start?
I was doing it actually. I had to figure this out the other day. And I'm going to look at my LinkedIn, because I'm partnering with a guy on some LinkedIn content stuff. And he's like, we got to set your LinkedIn up, because you don't really have a LinkedIn, which is like, people understand, like, when you're watching, it's like, you can't be everywhere. And I would never tell somebody to be everywhere. And I'm like, I'm not a LinkedIn guy. I mean, maybe I'll become one in the next 6 months. I don't know. But I do understand the importance of having a presence. So it's been about 10 years now that I've been unemployed, I guess you could say. I'm trying to get to my point.
Unemployable.
Yeah. So let me look at so like January 2003 to December 2014, which is like 10 to 12 years. Mm-hmm. That was like when I quit, like worked at Lowe's, quit Lowe's, and like was riding my bike professionally. Yeah. Like, so, I don't know if that's specific, but that was like the best timeline that I could put it on there. And I mean, between there though, that was like, riding my bike professionally also consisted of me working like day labor and delivering Subway sandwiches and shit, like on my car. Like, I did anything and everything I could to not have to get a job, because I needed the time to train, and also build another business, because I didn't want to work for somebody. Yeah. So I would do the jobs that, this is what I tell people. I mean, the funny thing is, like, you saw me at Jason Capital's event. Number one thing and I say kids, because they're kids, say is like, Ron, I quit my job. And I was like, cool. Okay. Now what do you do for money?
Right.
Oh, I'm going to do this internet thing. It's like, oh yeah, cool. Talk to me in 3 years when you're still broke.
Right.
Like, and people look at me like I'm an asshole. And I'm like, no, I'm just telling you the truth. Like, this shit doesn't happen overnight. Like, if anything, you should go get a job and then fund your internet business. Like, it's, that's some shit I wish I did. Looking back, and my wisdom is, even now I'm like, man, if I could get like a multiple 6-figure job and then do my internet shit on the side until I get that to $1 million, I'd be fucking cool with that. Yeah. Like, but there was, so it was, I did day labor, I did construction, I did all kinds of stuff in that time frame. But then it was, but then that was like the gist into it. Then it kind of morphed into, I didn't put the black hat Google SEO strategies on my LinkedIn. I neglected to tell that period of my life. Cause I don't want to, I don't want to be considered an SEO guy. That's not, I have no idea how that shit works now. Like, I know what I did back then worked, but that shit don't work now.
It's completely different. That changes every few months.
Yeah. It's like everything. I mean, I was talking to somebody that then I was like, I wish somebody would have told me when I started the internet that you literally have to reinvent your business every 2 years. Yeah. I mean, for the most part, like, there has to be pivots and there has to be shifts. Like, nothing will be the same. And I think it's going to be, I think you have to do that shit like every year now, because the internet moves so fast. And I don't mean like jump out of an industry and into another, but the format of your business, like, high ticket products, membership sites, low ticket offers, mid-tier products, physical locations. Like there's so many different variables and things that you could do. And it's just like, what's working now versus what's working then.
Right.
But yeah,
even when 10 other people come in and start selling the same thing.
Yeah. And then they charge less than you. And then that erodes the price. And then you have to figure out ways to outsmart everybody and figure out how to make money by selling shit at a lower price, which so hard to do. But yeah, so that like, and then it was like 2014 to 2018 was like YouTube and style. And then from 2018, the last 2.5 years, I would say, is when I really started branding myself as more of a content expert. And that's where I like to stay. That's where I feel like my avenue is like, not that I'm like the best video editor or the best photographer, by no means am I, but I understand psychology and direct response. And I'm better than a regular videographer and a photographer because I know how to make the shit that makes people like do stuff, that evokes emotion, that builds like influence. So that's kind of my lane right now. And I'm, whatever that looks like, I'm sticking with it.
That's awesome. So here's my number one question right now is there's a lot of other people that know how to do all the technical things, right? They know how to create the photos and the videos, and they know how to do the social media. You get people saying, hey, we'll blow up your Instagram for you and all this stuff. But what keeps you doing it? Why is this so important to you? And what are the things that are allowing you to be successful where other people are not succeeding, even if they're smarter than you or better at you than some of these things?
Well, I think people haven't, like I learned early on, like, yeah, like, I don't want to say that I just expect things to be short-term. In the internet world. And that's because like, and these platforms, like people have their entire identities wrapped around platforms. Myself included. I mean, I get carried away with Instagram a lot. Like it's, I have to like reel myself back in, but there's people that they're so focused on producing the best thing. And that's great. Like that's how you should operate. You should operate at the higher caliber where like you are putting out the best that you can possibly do. But I know, because I've been around for a while and I've seen it and I've done it and I've produced stuff, that the best doesn't really expose the emotion that you are thinking you have to get. It's just, but what really matters is getting it out. And that's where I think that I excel, because I'm just going to post the shit. Like I'm going to spend enough time on it where I think it's good enough, and then it's going to go upload or post a picture, write a caption, done. And then here's another thing. It's like, and then I don't have a mental attachment to it because I'm just going to do it again tomorrow. And I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And I'm going to do it again the day after that. Like, and I think that's a personality trait. It's, I mean, obviously I pay attention to my content and I look at what's doing well and I try to recreate that more and more often. But I think people, especially photographers, videographers, content producers, and even people, very professional level people, like they just don't get that, like this broken cell phone can produce and build you a business and a brand. And it, even still, like you would think that by now they'd have it figured out that, this like internet thing kind of works.
Right.
But they don't. And it baffles me when people, like, I mean, now that I'm on LinkedIn, I look at like job postings and stuff, because I'm always interested in like what people are looking to hire for, like what skill sets, like, because these are things I can teach. Like if I have, because I have a lot of people that like to produce content under me. So if I can help them, like, hey, there's a lot of businesses in my area that are looking for content production experts, and they think that you need a 4-year degree in videography to do that. And it's like, no, you don't. Just, and it's, it goes back to what I said, like the industry changed so fast. And I think a lot of people, they just get so attached to what it is right now, and they can't move past that, or the perfectionism comes into play, especially in like, and not to pick apart your industry, but the medical fields and like that, the more professional fields, from what they're like, who they have to become in school and what they feel that they have to represent, like outside of that and into your own practice. So you have a practice per se, like even that sounds professional. It's not just a place where you go to get better and healthy. It's a practice.
Yeah. Well, that totally hinders people that I work with, because we have to get A's to get into grad school, and then you're expected to do things perfect, treat your patients perfectly, and they go out into business. I think business has to be perfect, and it has to, I can't even launch or get off the ground or implement this thing because it's not perfect.
Yep.
And it's like, that's a train of thought needs to get broken off.
Yeah, and I don't want people to like lose context of the fact that like I think you should put out the best that you possibly can when it comes to your knowledge and information. But what I found, and this is like from running ads and from seeing like the number one viewed on my fashion YouTube video was like the third video I made has like almost 1 million views. I posted it on my Instagram. It was at 300K when I posted it. And it's like, had I known that was the video that was going to, I mean, that video is responsible for driving probably 20,000 email addresses into my database.
Wow.
You know, like, and it's me. The thumbnail is just like, I'm like this. Like, I didn't even put a thumbnail on it. And I'm just like, I mean, I don't know if it's still there, but if you Google how to be handsome, it was ranked #1 for the long time. It might still be there. Wow. Like, but it's, you know, I learned, I'm just like, it's not a big deal. And I think that people get so wrapped up and say like, and that stops people, that literally cripples people from doing things. And then there's the tech aspect of everything. It's like, you know, like I'm super pumped, like Instagram and like YouTube and like the general social media, like it eliminated the need for like fancy websites and fancy, like I operate with like a shopping cart, like, and like a landing page. Like I use Lead Pages, which is $37 a month, and Samcart, which is $99 a month, to manage all of my sales pages, all of my thank you pages. And to be able to do that, like, I mean, I just did a product this weekend, like it was called 7 Instagram Stories That Sell. And I made the product in an afternoon and I had it selling by that evening.
Wow.
You know, like that.
That's
like,
awesome.
Not saying like that. I mean, this didn't do as well. I mean, I did like 50 something sales, which is like, you know, that's 50 new customers that may buy my higher ticket thing. Like, I mean, so it's like, but like the time it took me from like, I think people want to know how to sell Instagram stories. Okay, let me take some of my examples and let me creatively come up with names for each of these different methods that I literally made in the same day. Like, I mean, they're methods I use, like, so they're proven. I just named them something cool and put them in a PDF. And I use Google Drive to make all my PDFs. Like, you know, I spent money on designers and sent it off like to, you know, you spend like $500 getting a cool PDF design. Like there's a lady that's like super big in the fitness niche, like, and she's a really nice lady named Pam. Like everybody uses her. But like, I was like, oh, cool, I'll use her too. And like, she billed me like $1,000. And I'm like, I had to pay it too, because she bills you after she gets done. And I was like, what the fuck did I just pay $1,000 for? Like, I might not even make $1,000 on this product. Like, and that's the way I look at things. It's just like, you have to take in the reality, like, how much am I going to sell, #1, versus what can I invest? Like, but that's where I think content comes into play. And that's like, I'm going to transition from like to that, because it really would help your people, is like, the better quality content you put out, the less production value has to happen inside of the actual products. And this is like I have like 0 refunds on my shit. Like, you know, I do have some good terms of service, so like I can avoid refund fraud, which is another thing that you get when you start selling digital information. But like, the higher quality my content is, the more people know me, the more I'm putting out, which is like actually me being me. People don't refund you. Like, and they just want the information. They don't care the package. And the more, like, you know, the harder you make it to get the information to them, like the more they get upset, you know? So it's like, if they have to scroll 10 pages down just to get like through your cool edited PDF and pictures to get to the one thing that they can immediately go use on their Instagram to make like $1,000 that day, they're pissed, they're annoyed. So I just give it to them in the simplest format. And like, that was one thing that I always took pride in, was for me to sell an information product. Like, I put a lot more thought into the one PDF cover. Like, so if there's one graphic you need, it's like the PDF cover, or just get good at making them yourself. Like, I can make a lot of them myself, but I want somebody to buy my product based on the logo alone. Like, and it has to say, like, I mean, and I learned this because my best-selling fashion product was 7 looks to make her want to fuck you. And it's a yes or no question. Do you want it?
Yeah. Yes
or no. You know, just like, do you want, like, and that's the more that you can get clarity in that, like, the better off your businesses will be. Even like the services people offer, it's like, well, do you want to fix your neck or your back? Okay, let me fix your neck. Cool, done. $800. Like, yes or no? Like that. So like, and that to me is selling. And I mean, I've studied a lot of sales and I've studied a lot of stuff. It's like, I just think people overcomplicate the whole thing, and they want to get smarter with their marketing, and they want to learn about the psychology of persuasion and all of this. And it's like, I think that society and people are getting smarter. Like if you can convey what it is you're offering quickly, easily, and effortlessly, then you'll make the sales. And then it comes down to a price justification. Do they see the value in like how much they're about to pay?
Here's my question I want to ask on this. How do you figure out what your customers want to buy?
Well, I mean, usually, I mean, what a lot of people do.
You're like, what do I sell them? Like, how do I sell them? Because one, my customers aren't going to buy physical therapy. I need to sell them something else. How do I figure that out? Like,
well, I mean, I mean, the general rule is like health, wealth, or finance. Like that's like, so if you can sell them how to be healthier, they'll pay for it. If they're unhealthy, if you can sell them how to be rich, and if they're broke, they'll pay for it. If you can sell them how to save money, if they can't save money, like they'll pay for it. Like problems and pain points are kind of like number one, but I don't think that that's going to be like forever. Like that's basic direct response marketing principles. Like find a problem in a market that has something that if you can offer a solution to a problem, you should make money.
Right.
Then that doesn't explain why people will not pay their rent and women will buy a pair of $800 high heels. Like, so it also comes down to emotion. Like, can you tap into the emotions, or can you help them build an identity around what you're offering? And I know that's like kind of deeper mind manipulative shit, like, but I mean, that's what businesses do. That's like what brands do. And that's kind of the bigger picture thinking. But like, you know, most everybody listen to this, like you guys solve problems, like you help people, like you get them out of pain. Like, and not only do you help people get out of pain with your practice, but you're also helping people, like actual therapists who are in pain in their businesses because they can't, like they're seeing like a level at which they're tapped out. Like there's people telling them they can't make six figures like doing this, and you're like, no, you can't. You know, in what I found, just what I guess would say successful for me is like I still make yourself look cool. And that's like, that taps into emotion, that taps into ego. And I'm aware of that, like 100%, you know, but I also, you know, and for me, the big problem I solve is like, you know, for the people watching this, like eventually you're going to start making content. Maybe you are, and then you're going to make it. And a couple of things are going to happen. One, you're going to get really burnt out really quickly. So where you're like, I can't physically make more content. Like what the fuck? Right. And then then number two, you're not going to make any money from it. And you're going to be like, this shit's a scam. It doesn't work. And number three, then you're going to experience hate, and you're going to have people making fun of you for the content you're putting out, or talking shit about your face or your hair or your eyes or your, you know, your family or your friends, like whatever, like they're going to attack you. So it's like, I know those are going to be problems that people are going to have. So I'm like, okay, well, if you want to avoid burnout, you need a plan, and you need to get quick at what you're doing. So it's easy. Yeah. Oh, I teach that. Like, it's like, oh, do you want to know how to deal with hairs? Well, you got to develop thick skin. Okay. Well, how do you develop thick skin? Well, you make a lot of content to where you don't fucking care. And the only way to get thick skin is it's like working out. Like, you know, you gotta build your content muscle is what I call it. Like how much can you produce? And, you know, so it's like finding the pain points people have and then tapping into them, but also understand that most everybody's pain points, there's already 1,000 other people attacking those pain points. So it becomes a bigger picture. Like I help with these pain points, but how can I wrap an emotion and an identity around what's going on? You know, and that's why, like, I mean, I wrap my identities built around a GoPro, like, because you know, not that I think this is the most amazing camera, because honestly, I don't. Like, it's just the one that works the best for what I want to do. And I don't really know how to manufacture my own camera. So like, I got to leave it to guys like GoPro to figure that shit out. But I mean, you attach a personality and a brand around who you are as a person and what you're about. And this is where most people stop themselves. Like, they don't want people to see the real them. And we hear a lot about authenticity and things of that nature, especially now online. It's like, be authentic, show your authentic self. Well, even most girls I know, their authentic self is, I got to get makeup. Like if they're alone and they're living, it's not just like, you know, like that. So like, what is your authenticity? Well, in my opinion, like I like to show my authenticity, but I like to show things that I know are going to ingrain principles into what would make people trust me and want to buy from me. And I think I lose money by telling people I do this. I haven't quite figured this out, but it keeps working. So like, I mean, there's like, I don't always like, I'm terrified to show my daughter on social media, but I show her a lot because like people trust, like people see me taking care of a really cute 4-year-old girl and taking her to coffee with me and playing, you know, riding bikes with her. Like that builds an emotion that you can't build on a sales page.
Right.
You know, and I also want people to understand that when when you're going to buy 7 stories to sell, I want you to take out your credit card and go, I like Ryan. He's good to his daughter.
Right.
And type in your fucking credit card number and pay me $7. Like, and that's the business behind it. Like I drink sugar-free Red Bull. Like I do love sugar-free Red Bull. I don't drink coffee for the most part. Like, but my identity is built around, like, I want to attract more oriented people, like more creatives, and creatives use GoPros and drink Red Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a mistake, you know, like, and I think that this is where things are going. Like every person you follow, you could probably think of 5 distinct things about them right away of why you like them. And that I think is like where people they don't know that. Number one, they can't identify something with themselves that they can show that, or the two, they're afraid to be that authentic.
So is it also in creating a content like strategy or putting things out there, people are too worried about, you know, fixing something, solving something, rather than, you know, helping people understand who they really are and what the emotions are around doing business with them? Is that?
I think, yeah, I mean, I think people like, they become shut off on like showing who they are and the intricacies of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And they stick to, no, I just help people fix their back. And I actually saw, I don't know, I'm sure you're familiar with Brandon Carter.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a massive YouTube channel, and like, I don't want to like argue with his success at all, because he's a savage and he's amazing at what he does. But he made or I got an email from him. Maybe he didn't write the email, I don't know. But it was basically just saying, like, to succeed in the fitness industry, you should only show your abs. Like, you should just show what you're about. It's like, leave your family, leave your friend, like leave all that off of your Instagram. And I'm like, I'm the exact opposite. I'm like, no, fucking show all that shit, and then you just happen to sell fitness. Like, because I think that, you know, people want people, and especially when if somebody in fitness, most people I think like are looking at somebody like, I can't even attain that level of leanness. Like, how the fuck am I going to do that? I have 3 kids. I don't sleep 8 hours a night. My diet is not on point, even though I'm really trying to make it on point. Like, I go to the gym at like 4:45 in the morning. I don't fucking want to be there because it's early as fuck. I'd rather be sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, and like, they see like just shredded abs on other people's Instagrams. It's like, well, I mean, I get that that's the end product and you can help me get there, but like, what's your program about? Like, is your program gonna consist of me having to wake up at 4:45? I fucking hate it. I want to wake up at 8. Like, so right there, like, I don't know if your program's for me, you know, like, so it's like you kind of build an army of, like, they say like attracts like. The more of you person that, like, I want people, like, I don't want people buying my products if they're not creative. Well, what the most creative people I know are ones that already have cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard. And this is just for me selling a lot of products and coaching people. Like, yes, your phone works. Like, you can do a lot of damage with your phone for content, but I know the people that are going to succeed with my course, they're not afraid to go buy a camera and like download an editing software.
Right.
Like, so it comes down to, who am I selling to, and what's the end product do I want them to achieve? You know, and most of it, you might not know that up front, like, at all. Like, it might take, you know, trying things. And that's another thing too. Like, I launch shit all the time that just tanks, and I just stop talking about it. Cause on social media, people forget so fast. Like, you know, I mean, I had an event last year, and most people don't even realize that I did this, but I did an event, and it was a $3,000 workshop. The first one sold like crazy. I had like, I think it was like 7 people. $3,000, made like 30 grand. I was like, this is fucking awesome. Let's do another one in 3 months. Nobody bought the second one.
Right.
So I was faced with a decision. That's not that the product wasn't good. It was like, all right, maybe I did that a little premature. Should have waited like 6-8 months to do this again, built some hype around it, but I tried to capitalize. Well, like I just ate the $1,000 that I spent on the room fee and just never talked about it again. Nobody's hit me up going, man, you stopped talking about this. It's like, no, well, and if they did, I'd be like, yeah, well, it didn't sell well the second time, so I had to make a decision.
Right.
Like, I hope that was helpful for people.
Yeah. So basically what you're saying is if you try something and it doesn't work, pivot away from it, try something slightly different. And if something does work, go after it again. And if it doesn't work, that's okay, because, like you're going to find something that hits. Yeah.
And I mean, it's also too, and that it's not saying that the product wasn't a hit either. It could have just been the packaging on the product, the name of the product, the intended audience that you thought wanted to buy that product didn't buy that product.
Right.
I mean, like I've sold products to my customers, like that it's the same product, but I had to package it differently and remarket it as something else. And then I've had people buy the product twice. And then I say, well, let me send you a refund because you just bought the same product. Like, even like, and this thing too, you learn people don't pay attention. Like I would send an email to all the buyers of that specific product and say, hey guys, you've already bought this product. I'm about to start selling it very hard. I've rebranded it and I'm calling it this. So don't buy it. Please don't buy it like again. And they'll buy it again.
Right.
And I'll just say, ugh.
Right. When is gathering information and buying products no longer productive for someone?
Honestly, right away. I mean, you have to take a look at your skill sets and what is the biggest objections and obstacles stopping you? Like to put a product online, like I don't think you need to buy a course on how to put a product online. Most of the times, like if you hire a mentor or like you get coaching from somebody, they'll just tell you, yeah, buy lead pages, use Google Drive, and how's your emails in Aweber or Constant Contact.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't have to buy that. That's how you run a digital product business right there. Done. It makes sense to try your best to put it out without paying for anything and paying anybody to do anything. And then when you see how bad the product is when you finish it, then you go, okay, what can I make better on this and who can help me make it better? Right. Because then you're going to learn, I mean, the basics of selling. Like you need copywriting and you need, or video salesmanship. And then so that's like the next step. So then it's like, so then you have your product. It might suck. It might just be like a page and like some words that say, hey guys, I have this product that does this. And then there's a link to buy it. You may not sell any. It's like, okay, well, what's stopping this? Okay, maybe I need a good video. Let me practice being on video and let's film a video sales letter of me talking about what's in the product. Then you need the skills. Okay, well, how do I film video? Well, I have my phone. I know it shoots in 4K. Most people don't hold the camera selfie style. So I need to get like some sort of tripod to hold my phone and I'm going to talk to it. And then you put that on a page and it works a little bit better. And that's what people don't understand. It's like these steps, and it's not quick. Unless you're going to pay somebody 10 grand to go, okay, this is my product idea. I want you to do it all. Right. So I can start selling it. And generally speaking, for somebody to do all that, it's going to be one, very, very expensive. And two, they're probably going to want to, if they think that the product is good enough, they're going to want a piece of the product going forward. And if they don't want a piece of the product going forward, you might know that it's not a good product idea.
That's a great point. So I got a couple questions I want to ask that some have been coming up and some came up for me while you were talking. Because a lot of people ask me like, Aaron, well, I want to create passive income. One, I'd like to know like, what's your definition of passive income, and what are the top ways for people to start getting it?
Don't do anything on the internet. Go buy properties and real estate and invest in businesses that aren't on the internet. But no, I mean, here, the way I look at it, and this is true with content production, and just like the longer you put out stuff on the internet, and the more you're selling and the bigger your brand gets, the more passive income you get because you are now profiting off all of the work that you had once put in. But it's not truly passive, because if you just stopped posting, people will forget about you, you know, and that's not true to 100% degree, but like you become less effective. You're not top of mind anymore. And the next person that is going to be top of mind, that is in that building stage, will overtake you. So when it comes to the internet, I'm a big fan of recurring revenue. I haven't had it for a very long time. And now I have a service / product that I'm actively trying to grow, which is it's $60 a month. But now I have like a recurring number, but even that's not truly passive, because I know every month, like, there's going to be cards that are going to fail and there's going to be cancellations. So I have to actively putting people in there.
Right.
So, but I do know that if I decide to make a product in an afternoon and sell it, I'll probably make rent for that month, because of the passive brand equity and the passive goodwill that I've put in for that for a long time. So, I mean, I do believe like businesses should have recurring revenue, and I know I say that now, but and I would have said that a year ago, but I didn't have any recurring revenue. But it's also diversification of it's like what I think Warren Buffett always says. It's like you should have 7 streams of income. Like the internet should be one thing. Like what you do, and what a lot of people that probably listen to you do, is like you have practices like in-person facilities. I think that's dope. But I don't think you should be in there like working on your patients. Like you should have people for that. Right. And then technically that is a passive income for you. You manage and oversee it, but you don't actually have to. You can hire somebody to manage and oversee it for you. But then you have to equate to, can I afford to hire somebody to do this for me? So, I mean, I don't know that there is a truly passive income, because even if you say, real estate, like you have to have a property manager, you have to have like contractors on staff. Like you're the one that gets the call if something fucks up. So it's not passive. But I think, yes, like recurring revenue on the internet is like a digital business is like probably the best form of passive income, but it's still like, you can't just,
it still takes a shitload of work.
Yeah. And so I guess the better question is what can people do that they're not going to have to think of it as work for a very long time.
Right.
And even that, I love making videos, but some days I hate making fucking videos.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, video will be banned on the internet and we have to reinvent ourselves.
Yep. And then I have to do pictures again to an even better degree. So I mean, yeah, it's a good question though.
That's awesome. What, I see it almost as like, well, what's passive? Like to me, it's when I stop trading time for money to generate income. It's like, then that's my passive. I'm still working hard, but I'm not trading one-on-one time for the money. I do it every once in a while.
Yeah, if the price is right.
Yeah, if the price is right.
And if you need to, and that's the thing too, I don't think people, we live in an age where everything is sunshine and rainbows on Instagram, and it's not. I know, I call it an authenticity tax is what I call it on how much money I can equate to losing because I tell people the truth. Yeah. And even in my speech, at the summit, I'm in front of almost 1,000 people, and I'm like, this is fucking hard, guys. I can give you everything, but I know you're not going to fucking do it.
Right.
And that's, and then it's you deal, I love success stories, and I don't ever want to discredit people's success, but I look at oh, so-and-so made $100,000 last month. And it's okay, cool. That's fucking rad. Number one, what did he do to make $100,000? How can I use that information to make my business better? But has he made money for the last 3 years? Or was that the first money he made after being broke for 5 years trying to build it? Right. And then he made $100,000, and it's okay, well, how many credit card companies does he owe? Because he's maxed them all out, and now he's in collections, and he wants to fix all that shit. Because it's as an entrepreneur, it's you get these windfalls of cash, and it's all right, well, how much shit have I fucked up getting this cash, and can I fix it? Because now I want to pay to fix what I fucked up. And I've done it so many times in my life, and that's why I laugh. And it's also longevity too. Yeah. I don't want to talk to the dude that made $50,000 once. I want to talk to the dude that's made $50,000 repeatedly over the course of 5 years.
Right.
Because it's you have to show you know, so you have a 6-figure, personal training facility, okay, cool, but you've only been open for 6 months. So you're on pace to have your first 6-figure year.
Mhm.
You're not a 6-figure facility yet until you've done that for a year, and then 2 years, 3 years. Like that's, and I don't think people are looking at that right now. They see the Instagrams and they see the things popping up. They see sales stats. Like my favorite is seeing the sales stats for like these drop shipping guys. I don't know if you've probably seen any of those
Yeah.
ads where they're like, look, I just made $37,000 last month. It's like, you spent 35,000 on ads, you dumb fuck. Like you made $2,000, right? So like these, I don't know. These are things that like I want to talk more about this stuff on the internet, like, but it's like I know I lose money by doing it, and it's like I can't.
Right.
Right.
It's like almost like there's a level of truth that turns people away that, it's like, well, you lose money, but if I tell you actually how hard it is, like, you're not going to want to do it,
Yep.
So I got to help you understand, like, that you can take the next step. So it's part of the sales. Like, I got to show you how to take the next step so you will take some action, because without action, you ain't going to do anything. But if you take some action, likelihood is if you keep doing it, you will be successful, but it is super hard, right?
Yeah. And that's like, I mean, my business is content. So it's like, and I've done my best. And like my whole talk at the summit, which is still like, I mean, that's like that's like my go-to principle. You're like, Ryan, how do I make my content production easier? It's like, okay, well, you need a content calendar for one, which means you just have to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to make money from your content, you need to inject 4 different things, like 4 types of content into this said plan. And that's, you have to build authority. And it's like, okay, so what makes me the chosen choice over everybody else? Like, that's it. That's authority. And then it's like, okay, well, now that I've built some authority, let me show people that I'm actually an authority.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, okay, testimonials, like how many customers do my products work? So that's called social proof. So you need authority, social proof. And then if you're building too much authority and too much social proof, then you kind of look like a robot. And you're like, well, I don't even know if I trust this guy. Then you have to build connection.
Right.
And it's like, okay, what's connection? Connection is just you being you. It's like, what do I show people? Do I show people my family? Do I show people my behind the scenes at work? Do I show people my problems? Do I show people? That builds connection. And then lastly is like, I need to create engagement. So it's like, I need to kind of use all these things to make my account engaged enough to where people are constantly coming back, wondering what I'm doing, commenting, liking, and paying attention to me. And sometimes that engaging means that you have to put yourself out there in ways that most people are uncomfortable to do. You might have to call somebody out, or you might have to go against what is norm. And you have to be willing to accept the fact that when I put this piece of content out there, it's going to make people mad. And then they're going to attack me as far as, hate comments. Like, other people in the industry might say some shit about me that's, could be true, could be false. Like, you got to be okay with it. Like, and all 4 of those things, when done in unison on a consistent basis over the course of 30, 60, 90, 120, 180, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, now you have that passive income and people are buying your stuff because you've built up this entire, you're always building authority. You're always showing that your shit works. You're always building a connection, and you're always doing stuff every once in a while that creates some engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why, like we joked about it before, like I crucify my haters on my Instagram story all the time. Like, I look forward to it. And I especially love when they come out during the middle of a product that I'm selling. Like, and I'm just like, awesome, and then, I mean, it sucks though. Like, I mean, I crafted all of that stuff. It took like an hour of my day, whereas like technically I was putting an hour of my time looking at a hater, which to me, though, it was never about him. It was like, okay, I'm going to use this guy to sell this, and then craft a message that does that accordingly. Like, but it's, and then, so like, that's like content in a nutshell. It's like, if you're looking at your content and you're going like, why am I not succeeding online? It's like, the number one thing I always see is like, most of the time it's just not enough content. It's just like, well, you don't have a brand yet. You only have, you've only been posting actively for 90 days. Like, 3 months isn't a lot of time. Like, people don't really trust you yet. And then it's like, looking at your content, it's like, okay, like, you seem like you're very professional and you're very authoritative, but I don't see any testimonials. I don't see any reason why your stuff works. And I also don't know who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They
Like,
don't trust you.
so it's like when you start breaking it down into those like 4 things, it's like, okay, so maybe I should focus on building them more connection for like 90 days.
Yeah. So
So
what, like if someone wants to post something on whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is, like what are some of the things that they can post? Like I can reshare testimonials, but what are some of the best strategies or tactics you're using or teaching to get people to share those things on their social media so they start building the trust and likability and connection?
well, I mean, I mean, the easy stuff is, I mean, first off, decide what platform you want to start with. Like that's another thing too. The overwhelm involved too. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I mean, before we go, okay, make these videos and do that. It's like, okay, figure out like, are you a fit for like short form video? Like I happen to, I mean, like I feel like I excel at short form video. But there's a lot of people that do not, and they can't get a point out in 1 minute. And that doesn't mean that they're like unknowledgeable. It just means like they need to work on their articulation. They need to work on their speaking to get that point out. So Instagram is built on short form content. You have to do a lot with a very little amount of time. And not a lot of people can do that. So the better question might be, okay, should I focus on long form content, YouTube or podcast, as opposed to Instagram, like short form content? And I only say to do that because all of it is hard, and all of it takes time. Instagram is short form, but you got to do like 3 times the amount. YouTube is long form, and so are podcasts, but they take a lot more work. They take a lot more planning. To sit down and make an hour-long video, like that doesn't just, I mean, yes, you can open up and just start spewing, but like you really got to get clear on your thoughts and what you're going to say. So what I tell people to do is like, okay, like number one, see where you're a fit. Like, are you a rambler? Do you just want to talk to people? Like, then go podcasts. Like, do you like to go in depth on very, very deep topics and you have a wealth of knowledge, like dissecting things? Then go to YouTube. Like, and then start like Instagram second and look at your long form stuff and start chopping it down into like micro content is what they call it for Instagram, and then the next thing is like, okay, so how do I, cause like, again, going on this content calendar, so you have 30 days. So, it's, in 1 week you have 7 days of content. Like, let's just keep it even. Like, let's go 2 days of authority, 3 days of connection, 1 day of social proof, and 1 day of engagement. I say, okay, so what do those authority, like, so if my like customers, my potential customers or clients like have back pain. So there's authority is like, okay, so I need 1 video telling them how to instantly fix their back pain. So they take and then I need 1 video maybe saying why that method I used worked.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 videos. Then you have connection. So it's like, I need connection. So it's like, okay, so what do I want to show? Do I want to show my gym life, like my self-care, my family, and my friends? It's like, okay, so I need to show a picture, a video of me doing my workout or doing my nutrition or doing this. And then I need to show, a video of me with my family or a picture of me with my family. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, I need to show that now that I have a few days, hopefully that people watch that first back pain video, I got a comment where somebody tried it and it works. I'm going to screenshot that comment. I'm going to post that as my testimonial, as my social proof. And then I'm going to give some context onto why it worked. Mm-hmm. And then the next one is like, okay, so how am I going to create some engagement? Well, I'm not a big fan of, dynamic meditation. I'm going to do a video talking about why I think dynamic meditation is bad for your back. Do you see how, and like, so it's constantly like shifting and evolving, but there is no specifics. But as you make more, then it's like, so you just kind of vomit a month of content out. And then you go into your little Instagram insights and then you go, okay, what content did the best? And then you go, wow, that video did really good. Let's make some more about that.
Yeah.
And then you make more, and then this process and cycle starts all over again. So it's like, but like teaching videos where you're helping people do stuff, engaging type of videos where you're calling something out or somebody out, or you're picking apart like something that people think is the best. Mm-hmm. Those always work.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's great. So what is the like what's the number one type of picture that I could put up on Instagram or Facebook to build some authority or connection, something like that, like what, you know, that I could do easily myself, whether it's with my phone or if I already have a GoPro or something. Like what would be like where should I go? What should I do? What should I wear? You know, like
Yeah.
how do I do to create that?
Well, I myself and Jason Capital, like, I mean, we're good friends. I don't know if I even mentioned that. Like, so we talk and we're like constantly like, but like, it's like a personal mission of mine. Like, I want to turn people into like one person content creation teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause I don't think people need like, you know, and this is coming, the irony is I have a girl that's technically my videographer that works for me. And I'm teaching people how to not have a videographer that works for you. But it's, you know, it's just because I have workload with my clients and stuff that I can't keep up with.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that to build authority in a photo, like I call it the paparazzi effect. And I've seen so many people steal this and like say that it's like of their own. But the paparazzi effect is like when you see Taylor Swift, you know, she's not ever really taking selfies. Like she doesn't go to Starbucks and take a selfie of herself.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens? A person takes a picture of her walking out of Starbucks holding a coffee, the paparazzi. And then that picture is now put on E! News and it's put on all these celebrity gossip sites and it's put on all these things. And then she is then like analyzed for what she is doing in that photo. Well, that's what I call the paparazzi effect. So for you in a business, you create your own paparazzi effect. Like you get pictures of you taken training clients or training PTs.
Mm-hmm.
You get pictures of you taken eating a salad. Basically, I urge people, like if you're trying to build authority and you're trying to separate yourself, like the act of getting a photo taken of you is authoritative in itself. And I think people realize that. Like, and that's not saying that you shouldn't do like selfies and like fun pictures like that, but getting photos taken of you and that appear more professional. They don't necessarily have to be that professional, but from somebody looking at your page, if it's selfie, like me with a client, like, yeah, that works. But if it's picture taken of me with a client, picture taken of me working on a client, picture taken of me eating lunch with a client, picture taken of me in a console, then somebody's going to go like, man, he's always got people taking pictures of him. That is an authoritative effect. That is the paparazzi effect. That's what I urge people to make that happen for themselves. And that could be just you out eating lunch and you're like, hey, can you take a picture of me and her or me and him?
Yeah.
And people say yes, because it's not a big deal anymore to take pictures of people and pictures of yourself. Like, you know, but, you know, to really take it to a professional degree, if people are really trying to like use social media 1 to twice a month, you can do a photo shoot. And when I say photo shoot, I mean, you hire a photographer for an hour or two. And this may cost you $100 because most photographers charge to edit. And most photographers charge $50 to $100 an hour to take photos. So if you do the editing yourself, it only costs you $50 to $100 to get like 300 photos of yourself taken. Now, there is a learning curve onto taking good photos. And like one of the best investments I ever made was like a posing course that I bought from a girl on YouTube. And I was like, it was like $50. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like now, and the reason I say, I'm not saying everybody has to go be a professional model, but if you know how to pose and you learn your angles and you learn how you look good, when you take 300 photos, the average person might get 13 photos or 20 photos.
Mm-hmm.
When I take 300 photos, I'm going to get like 120, you know, and that means that I have pictures for months.
Yeah.
Like, so it's utilizing and optimizing your time.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing too is most people are like, oh, let's do a photo shoot. And they bring one outfit. It's like, no, you got a photographer for an hour. You're going to bring 5 changes of clothes and go to 5 different locations. Now you have 5 times the amount of pictures.
Right.
And people looking at your Instagram feed have no idea that you did all this on the same day.
Absolutely.
Like, so that's like one of the best ways that I like tell people to get started, like, you know, elevating the status of their social media is like that, you know. And secondly, like, is like, I am a big believer in GoPros because in bright sunlight, these things just take cool looking photos. So like I teach like when you're doing photos, I call them hero shots. That's me and JC came up with that name. And really what they are is bold, audacious photos that are designed to make people, when they're scrolling, because that's all you got to think about. Like when you understand the dynamics of social media, like especially Instagram, people are just scrolling. All the picture and photo does is get them to stop their thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want them to read the caption. So like the photo just has to be bold and audacious and bright and vibrant to make people stop scrolling. If you do that, then that the photo has done its job. Then it's the authority comes in the caption. And I urge people, and I said this in my speech at the summit last year, like max that shit out. Like write long captions. Number one, it's hard to do. Not everybody can write a long caption every day. But the people that do appear smarter and more knowledgeable about their topic because they can keep talking about it. And that's another way to hack authority. Like, you know, and like, but these things too, it comes with the fact is you're no longer treating your Instagram as an app. Like it's an extension of you and your business. Mm-hmm. And it's like, again, then it goes back to the content count. Okay. What do because, and this is like most people when they land on Instagram, like, it's like, I call it the revolving business card. My internet's really being weird, but like you're only going to see the top 9 photos. Like, so when somebody like all you're going to see is like 3 rows.
Right.
That's it. So when they land on your page, so whatever you said in those 9 photos, like that's what they think of you. So make sure that those 9 photos are always what your potential customers or clients want to see. Mm-hmm. And that goes back to, in these last 9 photos, have I built authority? Have I built a connection? Am I providing engagement? So it's looking at it with an objective opinion. And it's not thinking about it as, I need to make a cool piece of content today. It's, okay, man, I've been going on some tangents lately. I need to throttle back on the engagement and really, like, I got to build some more connections. So let me show me doing some hobbies. Let me, like, you know, like,
right.
Like that's it. Like, and once people like look at their profile like that, like it gets easier and it gets more clear, and the sales happen because people are, they trust you. They feel like they know you. They're, you know, it all works together.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's dope. What, if someone's building their personal brand, building an online business or brick and mortar business, is there anything else that you think that they need to make sure that they do or that we haven't discussed or talked about?
Again, just kind of going back to what we touched on at the beginning, like don't be so hard on yourself. You know, and it's hard. Like just the act of not being hard on yourself when putting out content is hard. You know, but it's just being mindful that it is just a piece of content. And depending on where you go, like, you know, if you're focusing on Instagram, which a lot of people are right now, then have no mental attachment to it, because here's the thing, you can put that shit up and you can delete it in 24 hours. Right. If you don't like it. I don't encourage you to do that, you know, like get good to where you don't delete shit. But like, that's the mindset you have to have, is just constantly, and understand that content's not going to, like, if you're putting out content to build your brand, like there isn't really a cheat code. Like you can't just magically create a year's worth of content. Like you have to create a year's worth of content. Mm-hmm. Right. And there are arguments like against content versus strictly paid advertising, but content makes your paid advertising that much more effective, because I run local ads to build my content agency and build me doing content for businesses locally. And the first thing I mention is my Instagram. So I encourage them to go look at me on my Instagram, mm-hmm. because what are they going to see? Authority, social proof, connection. And then my local business grows because people see my global business on my Instagram growing. Right. Like everything works together. So if, you know, because you can be damn sure, like if you're just running an advertisement, even if it's like a billboard ad locally, if they remember your name, they're going to look you up on Instagram.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And if all they see is you beer bong with a funnel, it's over. You just lost your trust.
So Ryan, what's next for you? What are the next 2 to 5 years bringing for you? Do you know?
I hope I don't have to totally reinvent myself again and again and again, but I hope to keep establishing myself as a, not necessarily a content producer, but more or less a guy that brands go to when their stuff isn't working and they need fresh eyes looking at their stuff. Because I think that's where I excel, is looking at other people's stuff and being like, okay, I can see this, but maybe you didn't see that. So I guess more of a consulting kind of overseeing role. But then again, also too, I've just started a brand new GoPro YouTube channel. I'd love to start working with action sports companies and things of that nature. I think their marketing is subpar at best, and I think they could do a lot better job. So I'm the attempt at the GoPro YouTube channel, which only has 150 subscribers. So like for everybody watching, like I'm just like you on that channel.
Yeah.
Like I don't have like, I have one channel like 30,000 and I have this one with like 138 people. Like I'm still producing one really badass video every week on that channel. Like, and that is a long-term play for me. So long-term, I hope one of my channels gets to 100,000 subs so I get that stupid plaque that everybody wants. Like, but I want the leverage and the credibility that goes with it, because one of my reasons for starting that channel was a lot of people say that you can't start a YouTube channel now. It's too hard to grow. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's start one and see what happens.
Right. Take the challenge.
Yeah.
Prove them wrong, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's it. And then I have my membership site, which is doing well. And I'm helping regular people with businesses. I want to keep growing that I need to get it to 150 members. And then that's like my short-term goal. I'm about 100 away. So, but like that's every day I have a service that tells you what to post on your Instagram story feed and caption. Wow. And it also helps you find what I call your sniper niche to start attacking YouTube as well. It's kind of it's called daily content cash flow because I tell you what to post every day. Right now, the platform's Instagram. Next year, it might be something else, but the principles that I'm applying still work. It doesn't matter where it's going. So those are like my focuses right now.
That's awesome, man. You're crushing it. I think it's been really great to see what you're doing. I've been on your GoPro channel and I'm one of your subscribers. So
nice.
And I was watching videos yesterday and it's great. I bought the little tripod extender, stick thing. So it should be here today or tomorrow. If someone wants to find your channels, like where's the best place for them to go? How do they find you online?
I mean, Instagram's kind of my hub. It's just my name on Instagram. And then if you go to YouTube and search my name, you will see my bigger fashion, more oriented channel first, it's kind of a hodgepodge. It's not really fashion anymore. There's a lot of business stuff on there. I have some presentations on there, very similar to what we just talked about. But if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see another channel by me, and that's my GoPro channel. Like, I mean, it's all kind of working together by this point. But like, if you come to my Instagram, and you pay attention, I mean, a lot of people don't pay attention. There's links to everything. It's just a matter of what day you're paying attention. Awesome.
Has GoPro reached out to you yet?
No, they're so elusive. But I'm about to, because they're about to release the GoPro Hero 8. They announced a new camera. And this is for like a tip for like, GoPro is a passion of mine. And like, I get excited about like going on and taking GoPro photos. And like, if you can make content creation like a passion for you, like you will succeed far faster. But like GoPro is not like, I'm annoyed because like, I know the Hero 8's coming and they're going to get me for $400. I'm good about it. Because I have to have the new camera because I have to make videos about the new camera. So it's like,
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's like, eventually they will. Like, I can't, like, I'm assuming by the time I hit probably 10,000 subs, they'll be sending me cameras.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
like,
awesome.
And that's like a point for people, like 10,000 subscribers on one platform, provided you earn them, and like you can do very well with 10,000 subscribers. There are ways to make money from a lower amount, but a lot of things happen when you hit that double digit. Like mentally for people, they just take you more seriously, and more people subscribe. Like, I don't know. So that's my short. I wanted to get 10,000 subs in 90 days on my GoPro channel, and I'm about 9,850 short coming into month 2. So
right.
We'll see if my audacious, but all it takes is, and that's the thing too, is it takes one.
Yeah. You're doing better than I am on my personal branded YouTube.
But it only takes one video. Like one video will be the catalyst of getting me 10,000.
Yeah.
And it might be one of the ones that's still on the channel right now. It just like YouTube, like the channel's new. It needs to mature. YouTube needs to like gather data on the videos.
I did a video, oh God, it's been 8-9 years ago. And I put it up. It was a foot massage video. And all of a sudden the foot fetish community got a hold of it. And I got 20,000 views in like a few days. And it was like, it's one of my most popular videos. It's like on my other channel. It's on my clinic channel, which is really funny. And, but yeah, it just takes one video. It's like all of a sudden, your stuff will blow up.
Yep. Like you never know.
But you don't know which one it is. You can't ever predict. Right?
Nope. Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's why no mental attachment. I'm just going to put one out tomorrow.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, Ryan, thank you again for coming on the show. I appreciate it. This has been a really awesome and informative episode. So thank you so much for spending time with us. I appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate the ability to come on, man, and exposing me to your audience. And hopefully I provided some value to them.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, guys, thank you so much. This is the CashPT lunch hour. Go out, create, and keep doing it until you hit the right one, and then reinvent yourself and keep going at it again.
Yeah.
If you got anything from this episode, please like screenshot it on your phone and share it and tag us both on social media or Instagram, and we'll reshare it. We'd love to, and we'll see you on the next show. Thanks so much.